one of those injured during an artillery shelling. And we have reached Raymond as he heads to an air base on the telephone. Hopefully our connection will be holding. But Raymond, number one, good morning. You've given a lot of us in this country a great deal of concern today. How are you, number one? Your injuries and your health, how are you?
No, those are superficial injuries. I'm hurting all over. Like I've had a good beating, but because when the bombardment started, the army told us to rush. And there were lots of journalists, a few journalists were hurt because we hit the ground very violently a few times.
So minor injuries. When you spoke to Radio-Canada, you said to the hand, to the elbow, to a knee. Is that right, your main injuries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and probably a few cracked wrists also.
So you were badly banged up. Okay, so let's backtrack then. I was telling our viewers earlier the circumstances. You were out with the Russian Defense Ministry on a bit of a media tour. Take us through the chain of events, Raymond.
So that's it. We arrived, we were flown during the night from Moscow, and the first visit this morning was a village, a small village where there is food distribution, a village that was really difficult to reach in the last few days before the truce. And then we were brought to that Kensaba village. It's 5 kilometers from the Turkish border. And there a Syrian high officer showed us, the border and saying that the Turkish troops were amassing there and they were afraid there would be a Turkish ground operation. That was the second leg of the trip, and we were wrapping up to come back to Latakia. When the bombardment started, there were at least 8 missiles or bombs, or I don't know what hit us, but it was quite big explosions all around us. So we had to take shelter, and then I think the soldiers with us realized that we were probably the target. So they brought a tank, and we had to hide behind that tank until we reached the armored personnel carriers, and still the bombardment kept us. I counted at least 8 bombs, 8 explosions, huge explosions, and we managed to escape, but a few of us were hurting all over because there was such a rush and confusion.
So, Raymond, the timing of that's so interesting. Just as they were telling you the Turkish troops were close by, just a matter of kilometers away, in comes the shelling. And as you suggest, you may well have been targeted. Any suggestion from the officials who might have targeted you, who might have shot at you?
Well, no. You see, there are 2 possible options. One is obviously on the Turkish side because the shells came from that side. But they keep telling us in between that territory that's kind of a no man's land, there's the Al-Nusra Front. It's an Al-Qaeda branch that is very active there and could have seen us. We were quite visible, a group of about 30 journalists all dressed in black jackets, helmets, taking pictures all over the place, a big convoy being escorted. So it's possible, someone saw us, that's obvious. And during these bombardments, we were told by the Russian military that at least 4 civilians were hurt, directly hit by these bombardments.
And again, this should have been an area of the country, Raymond, you're close to Turkey, but in Syria, this should have been an area where the cessation of hostilities, the ceasefire, was in effect.
Exactly, that's why we were brought there. We had the protection kits and everything, but we didn't think there would be a problem in that area. The Russian army didn't think so because they would never have brought us there. It was finally, we're very happy, all the journalists are very happy no one got really hurt very bad. The explosions were really near, like about 10, 20 meters from us at the time. So it was a near miss, let me tell you.
That's concerning to hear. As you say, you are perhaps the worst injured, and thankfully even your injuries are minor, but considerable in themselves. So are you heading out of the country now or out of the region, or what are you doing now, Raymond?
No, the tour is meant to last 4 days. That's the usual length of the tour. What we're doing now, we're going to the Latakia airport, the airport where you've seen all these Russian bombers taking off in the last few months since the end of September to bombard the different factions here. There is a press room there. That's where we're going. But the trip will keep on going tomorrow. I don't know where they're going to bring us, but I think there will be a bit careful about the situation around us.
Okay. Raymond, I will leave it at that. We'll look forward to seeing the coverage on our sister network at Radio-Canada. Very good news that you have come through this with only minor injuries. But thank you very much for the time today to tell us about what happened, the very concerning situation. Raymond Saint-Pierre.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Raymond.